Before we begin the episode, there are a few things that need to be said. First off, I want to apologize for the episode you're about to hear. Now, that doesn't mean it's bad. This episode is really hilarious as somebody who's had to go through this a few times just to make sure everything was coherent enough to be heard. Speaking of which, Gray and I recorded this at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. respectively in our time zones, and it took about 3 hours just to get finished because we had so many pop-ups and interruptions here and there, so we had to make sure we delivered a full episode structure for you guys to listen into. Now, this is a little sloppy on both of our parts. There's plenty of speech impairments, which are both funny and a little unprofessional from us. So I want to apologize and thank you guys for listening in on this episode, even though it might be dubbed as a big mess. Secondly, on December 2nd, we announced that an old member of the community from a time long ago named Husnain had passed away from a battle with cancer. The man was only 23 years old and he was pursuing for a master's degree in a major that I'm not aware of, honestly. I never knew the man, but he was a vital member in the community from what I have heard of him. I wanted to mention that because I hope one day our words will reach Husnain's family for their extreme loss to them. And also, we are a community of very, very talented and young individuals. We can do anything we put our mind to. And I just wanted to say thank you guys for being so supportive to each other, because we are all wonderful people. And let's never lose that. It's a little cliche to bring up at this time, but I just felt like it needed to be said. Thank you. And now I present an ultimately removed clip that will show what to expect during the episode. Now, this actually does provide... Holy! I literally can't even. What did I just do, Gray?
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. I need sleep. Okay.
You're birthing new memes.
True! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the URPG Times Podcast, Episode 5. I am your host, Mikey57, here with my co-host, GrayMagikGamma.
Hello, everyone. This is Alex, and welcome to episode 147 of the Dex Podcast. Joining me is my co-host, PokeKels.
What?
Oh, you're not PokeKels, you're Mikey57. I'm not Alex. I'm GrayMagikGamma.
Please keep in mind that we're recording this podcast at 2 and 4 in the morning. 2 a.m. on my side, 4 a.m. on Gray's side. We're not okay right now. Why? We don't know why we're doing this, but we love you guys so much we felt like it was necessary.
But just a reminder, no matter what time he chooses to record the podcast, I'm always like this, so don't worry about it, guys.
Hell yeah. That's just what makes it better. I don't even think I said that right anyway, but we're going to just go with it.
Moving on.
For this episode, we will not be having a guest. We are keeping it just between the two of us because we felt like we should just take a little break, step back, focus on ourselves for the podcast episode because there's a lot of things to update, and if we had a guest on here, it would probably extend more than it needs to because there's actually a lot to go over in this episode. Yeah. Nothing bad, of course. Just there's a lot of cool things happening. Anyway, it is December 1st. This should be the November podcast, but keep in mind that it is going to be released with the November's Times, which will also be released in the next day or two. It is currently December 1st. I already said that, but clarifications, fam.
That's what he wants you to think. We're actually recording this on November 15th. You can do the math and figure out the amount of time between now and when this comes out, and that's the amount of time that Mikey spends editing this.
But, Gray, it's not... What? We just had Thanksgiving, though, dude. What the heck?
What? No, I haven't yet. No.
What do you mean you haven't had Thanksgiving? Tell me about your Thanksgiving, Gray. What's been happening?
Okay, so during my Thanksgiving that I haven't had yet, I had it with just, like, my brother and my parents, but, like, normally I have it with, like, a huge family, either my dad's side or my mom's side. But this year we just kind of downscaled. Had a meal, played some Overwatch, you know.
There
chilled
you
out.
go. Nice little family gathering.
How is your Thanksgiving, Mikey? The Thanksgiving that hasn't happened yet. You know, the one.
Okay, sure.
week from now.
Our Thanksgiving my Thanksgiving that quote unquote hasn't happened yet. I worked, and I work at a grocery store, so that doesn't sound like it's very fun, but for me, I worked at a store that was very low-key, not busy. Amazingly for that time of the year and times of dates and stuff. And I get time and a half, so that's always wonderful. And we closed the store early at 7, which is also very awesome.
Yeah, I used to work at a grocery store, and it was horrible during and leading up to Thanksgiving. So many people buying food, and like all the lines were just jam-packed. We just didn't have enough people to handle everyone, despite having so many registers open. Glad
Right.
it wasn't that hectic for you.
I mean, it's been getting hectic for the last few days. I mean, we're almost towards ski season. Like, the mountain behind us at our store, or like right across from us rather, is opened. There's no snow in Colorado at the moment, which sucks so much for us because all of our tourism is on skiing and snowboarding during the winter.
Yeah.
But give it a week or two and things will be, covered. But
You've got the Rockies over there.
yeah, exactly. And we have had a lot of tourists coming in, even though it's only just becoming December. A lot of special occasions, a lot of early huge purchasings when we ourselves are on off-season scheduling. So there's one closing cashier and a manager, and I was that closing cashier today, and it was awful because there were lines upon lines every 20 minutes, which were terrible. But somehow I'm alive. I don't know how, but I am. So that's good. But moving on, we of the URPG Times podcast hope that you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We want to know how your Thanksgiving was. Please drop a comment down in the comment section below. And
Please
tell us what
like, comment, subscribe. Share this
Oh
with your
my.
friends. Retweet
Not
it,
like
share it on
this. I am triggered. But make sure to tell us what you did for your Thanksgiving and how you guys enjoyed it. And if you had turkey or ham, or
both.
turkey ham, or something else.
You know, guys, if turkey ham is too expensive for you, some years you just gotta go on a budget, which leads us into our next topic, Mikey.
Oh, I see what you did there. Budget tourney. Woo, great
Hell
with that
yeah.
fire transition. Okay, but really briefly, please do comment. We want to interact with you guys a lot more.
Yes.
And we want to get in touch with our fan base, which is a lot of you guys. We don't want just Discord reactions. We would appreciate commented thoughts that aren't put into Discord that easily get buried. Because we all know that happens the moment the episode gets released, is initial reactions. But we do, low-key, really want to get to know you guys. Anyway, budget tourney. Budget tourney was a mess. Let's just say it was a huge mess, because it took a month for the finals to be done. Since we last updated.
Yeah, people were pretty busy towards the end of that tournament.
Yes, this was very true. The finals were hysterical, though. I don't think we'll ever have a tournament finish like we did, because budget was just, and excuse my language, but it was a literal post. Honest to God. Awful.
I mean, one thing that's really interesting to me about that tournament is that I think there were more uses of Berserk Gene in that tournament than the rest of URPG combined. There's so many people trying it out. It didn't always go well for them, but
I think a lot more matches were thrown because of the Gene. I mean, a lot of matches I would witness here and there, it was a final Mon with the Gene that was, the perfect win condition, but then they smack and they lose because of it. Because I know Zali versus Ash. Ash's last Pokemon was a Lunatone, and Zali had, 3 Pokemon left. But the Lunatone, it was a Berserk Gene Sceptile with Unburden, so instant double speed and +2 attack. But it smacked twice in a row, and Lunatone got off, what was it, Calm Mind and Substitute?
sounds about right.
Substitute and then Calm Mind, I believe. But you guys get the picture. I mean, Zali could not do a single thing to that Lunatone because of the sub, and I think it even got a rock polish off or something like that. Because at that point, it just could not be touched. And just swept because of the Gene smacks. Which is the reason why...
Rock polish level up, so I think that's right.
Yeah. I never used Gene in the tournament because I did not trust the luck factor of it. I mean, high risk, high reward, sure. But seeing as how many negatives it brought compared to positives, I was like, no. I don't trust it. I mean, Gray...
You only get one shot at tournament versus, like, if you try it out in a gym or Elite Four match where, like, if you lose, you can always just try that person again.
Or somebody else and just see, and you can fine-tune your strategy and whatnot.
Yeah, whereas, like, if you lose a tournament match, you're out of that tournament for good.
Yep. I mean, you know what's weird? I think one day we need a tournament where there's a winners and a losers bracket. I mean, that'd be extremely hard to manage and get done on a timely manner.
Yeah.
But that'd be a very interesting tournament structure one day, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe. But, let's get into the results, because we have the results after so much coverage of this tournament. In 4th place, there was a round robin at the bottom, the 3rd place through 6th place, no, 4th through 6th place, excuse me, which was Zali, Sepe, and Liam. Sepe dropped because he didn't want to do the round robin structure, and I 100% don't believe him, because I almost did the same thing, but
Yeah.
Liam and Zali fought, and Zali won a simple mon, and he claimed a Zigzagoon as a result. Because he used Lailoon in the tournament, and it did work, so I don't see why he
Mikey,
wouldn't.
are you sure it wasn't a Zengus?
Can you stop? Please note that we have recorded this podcast a few times, and we have failed at least 3 times, because again...
We didn't really fail. What happened was we got, like, halfway through, and I was like, you know what, Mikey, we can skip that mistake. We can just cut this and redo the whole podcast.
And I literally was like, okay, and then I completely deleted the recording in an instant, and then we just completely died off the scene. It was pretty bad. Please note, we are very professional.
Halfway through the podcast when this happened.
We are very professional individuals. Do not try this at home. We are trained. 3rd place. So, top 3... I'm sorry, I have to laugh. Top 3 was Mikey57, myself, Nitro, and Ash K. Now, Mikey57 here does not want to fight Ash or Nitro, because Mikey has only beaten Nitro out of complete shenanigans garbage, and Ash K, I've, like, legitimately have never won in a serious battle with Ash. Ever.
Okay, but Mikey, you know where you've probably beaten Nitro and Ash?
Where?
Contests.
Oh my god, not wrong. I mean, I binged that contest carnival, let's be real, but,
Hell yeah. You were the MVP of that event, dude.
Hell yeah. 3rd place was Ash K. Super shocking, to be honest. Ash and I fought. I legitimately made better calls than he did, and just one-upped him on most of my plays. I mean, it was a lot of here and there, and I did a few questionable moves at the end, especially. But I was like, what the hell? Why am I beating Ash? This shouldn't be happening. Because Ash is like...
I think the dice were definitely on your side that
okay,
day. That
let's also confirm the fact the dice were extremely biased. Very biased. But it was a very, very, very intense battle. And I thank Ash again for the wonderful match. And then... 2nd place is Nitro. Now Nitro beat Ash, but Nitro and I's match had to be cancelled mid-match, because Nitro brought life orbs he did not own in the budget tourney, and we only found out after I had to double-check because of the fact I accepted the fact there was one life orb at the very beginning of the battle, but then a second one popped up, and I was like, he has 2 life orbs, and after double-checking his budget stats, they weren't there. And let's say we all laughed a lot, and it holds the value of I only win against Nitro if something stupid happens, whether it's on my part or his part.
I think he's crying, not laughing, dude.
Ditro, literally Ditro.
Yeah.
Okay, but Nitro and I would have finished the match, but as I said in the chat, which was completely acceptable, I did not want to risk fighting Ash again, because if I fought Ash again, I would not have won, in my opinion. Because that was like a one-time fluke in my standpoint. But
I mean, with all the RNG involved in battles, there's definitely a lot of potential for, like, toss-ups to happen.
Of course. But Nitro got 2nd place. Claimed a Dynamo.
Yep.
And then Mikey57 somehow, some way, won the budget tourney. Let's just say, he was very, very angry that I won that night. Because something happened. And it was not bad. And I can't mention it on the podcast, but it was really funny. And if I mention a single word to her, she gets extremely triggered. I will not reveal this word on the podcast because we're not going there, fam.
Okay, so let's bring it back. As Mikey said, he wants more participation in the YouTube comments. Please comment below what you think was said.
Oh,
just make up your own story. Fill in the blanks, guys.
Like this. I don't even know if Ash claimed him on, by the way. Maybe I'm wrong. Hey, make sure to comment in the YouTube comments if Ash actually claimed him on from Budget Tourney or not.
Yep.
Because I don't know, and I actually don't think I have the resources to find it.
Did Ash ever claim Amon for becoming champion again?
I don't know.
No, I know he's allowed to, but I know he was holding on to it and, not actually claiming anything.
Oh, who knows?
Anyways, back on topic.
Yes, I claimed a Ditto, and I traded it away, because I wanted money, and I need DMs. I mean, I probably should have kept the Ditto for Rando's tourney, but I traded it away, and it was worth it. Also, speaking of tournaments, we have the private previews randoms tournament on right now, where I already lost. Because I fought Nitro round 1, and I made the biggest mistake in trying to do hacks plays, and did a really bad call against Nitro where he swept me with the Gyarados. Hooray! How did you do in your first match against Gray?
I think I did pretty well. I got rolled a really high-end team with Dragonite, Alolan Ninetales, Rayquaza, Blaziken, Swampert, and Mimikyu, and that right there, you have a Stealth Rock Setter with Swampert. You have 3 Defoggers with Dragonite, Rayquaza, and Blaziken. You've got an Anti-Sweeper with Mimikyu. You've got,
a Mega Rayquaza.
Yeah, you've got a Mega Rayquaza. Even if it was just that, and then I got, the worst possible Pokemon, I think I probably still wouldn't have done too badly. But, dude, that lineup's, perfect.
I mean, let's just say, poor So. I feel awful for her. Because Mega Rayquaza in Random's tourney is not a fun thing to fight round 1.
I mean, to be fair, for Mega Rayquaza specifically, she did get Jolteon, Clefable, which are both pretty decent Mega Rayquaza soft counters. But,
setup.
Everything else on that team just solidified it. I could have just walked into an Elite Four battle with that team.
Oh, of course. But you legitimately should do that. Honestly, if you have to refight Elite Four one day.
Maybe.
Who knows? But please keep in mind that you guys should be paying attention to the budget random, not the budget random tourney. That doesn't exist. But that's a good idea for later events.
Oh no.
Oh yes. But please pay attention to the private previews random tournament because it's very, very, very interesting and it's a good take on randoms. And it shows they can be a very competitive format, Yeah. But, anyway, let's keep moving on. Staff updates. We're going to do this very, very briefly. We want to congratulate everybody who was promoted to staff.
Yep.
Which were...
all the main staff, all the section staff, everyone, congratulations.
I myself became staff, so now the podcast is officially staff-worthy.
Hell yeah.
Now I can rule the world with this podcast.
And I became a senior ninja hidden master judge. That's what they're called, right? Chief judge? Close enough. Whatever.
I like the name of it. I'm going to make sure to type a name tag out for you, buddy. So if we ever do a meetup, we can just tape that to you and be like, oh yeah, it's Gray!
And every section has a different name for their seniors, so you're gonna get a few mixed up here and there,
Yes. I'd like to congratulate on the main staff team, though. Maru, FD, shoutouts to FD, and Kisaria. Exactly. Shoutouts to Kisaria as well, and myself for becoming officials. And shoutouts to Liam and Nitro for becoming mods. You guys are awesome. We all deserve it, and we are kicking butt as staff right now.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you, thank you. Moving on. We're going to do a very brief creative section update. First off, before anything else, there will be an explanation as to why the spooky Halloween special that I said was going to be out on Halloween is delayed, but we will be getting to that towards the end of the podcast.
It came out on Halloween, just that nobody really viewed it. Like, it got 0 views. I don't know why. I can't believe everyone ignored it.
Yeah, man. Feels bad. How dare you guys. Gray, they're buying it. And then, a very, very fun event that I recommend you guys look into is happening until December 5th. Well, the signups are happening until December 5th. URPG Secret Santa. What you guys can do is you can sign up, you can decide, you put like a top 3 for a category you feel confident in either writing or I believe drawing in.
Yeah, top 3 Pokemon that you want for that rank.
And the 3 categories are hard, complex, and demanding. And you will be told to write a Mon for somebody else, and you will only be matched up with somebody on the same rank that you and they are comfortable for writing on.
Yeah,
also, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, one nice thing is that, like, whether you're writing or doing art, you get to do it at 1 rank below what it would normally be.
I was just about to get into that. Yeah, the ranks are reduced, so hard would be medium, complex hard, demanding complex, yada yada. So it makes it a lot easier, and this event lasts until January 5th. That is when the submission window closes for everybody who has signed up and enrolled somebody, I guess they can say. Yeah. So be ready, and you guys should sign up, and I will make sure this podcast definitely gets up before then, so everybody knows they should sign up.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, Mikey, you have like 2.5 weeks at this point? Like, it's only the middle of November, dude.
Dude, I swear. I swear. Also, one very, very important thing that you guys should look into just came out for the National Park, a new Invitational event. Ultra Wormholes.
Huh?
Now we get to do world exploration with these Ultra Wormholes. Now you can sign up for a park run, except it has all guaranteed higher ranked encounters. So you have 5 encounters, and they are all ranked Borderline Plus. So that means there's a lot of really good Mons within the event, and there's no Mart Mons within it. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Actually,
and
no, it's
the
a
last
private
one that you encounter is actually guaranteed to be even better than the other 4.
Yep, it will be a rare or a special Pokemon, so it's something really good. Now, you only get 5 encounters, but you get to choose where you go. Each of the portals, like, you'll be in the Ultra Space exploring, but you decide where you go, because you get to pick a portal that represents a color scheme of one of the park areas. So, you can obviously go on to this event page, and you can find out what kind of encounter you'd want to try taking. There's a total of 15 encounters, but you pick which one you get to go to, and you won't know which encounter you've missed. So it's like, oh, I missed a type null, but I wouldn't know, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? You can only take one of the Mons out, but the sign-up fee is only 2,500 cash. That's pretty good for an event like this, where you get a really good Mon, assuming, you go through it and whatnot.
That's the other thing. You only get to take 1 Pokemon out of the Ultra Wormhole, so, like, plan ahead.
You gotta make it count, I mean, it's definitely worth it. I mean, it's a 1-run time, but you can easily find something very good for either Gifting Station or yourself. Yeah. Whatever you feel like doing. Also, signups are open until December 5th. Or 7th, excuse me, December 7th. So I recommend you guys hop on that. Also, one last little note, because I'm very, very good at adding these things last second into the podcast. You should also consider, if you're like not too big on Park, but you want to check it out, there's an Ultra Wormhole Exploration Pack for 8,000 cash. 1 Hyper Ball, 2 Super Balls, a Calming Fragrance Plus, a Pokédoll, and an Energy Powder Plus. You can only take 2 Pokemon with you into the event, but this little 8K pack is very good for somebody who's like just getting into Park and they want a better chance of catching these Mons and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful value for what it is.
I mean, are you going to participate, Gray?
Oh, absolutely. I'm probably going to still bring in a few more materials besides just the pack, but I'm definitely getting the pack as well.
Oh, probably. I might just jump on that as well and be like, hey, let's do it.
Speaking of jumping on it, one thing that people can be excited for is that even if you're already on an individual run and a main RP run, you can still join this event and have it be a third run alongside the other two.
Oh, that's really awesome, actually. And now for our next segment, we have Pokemon of the Month for the podcast. Now keep in mind there will be a separate Pokemon of the Month within the URPG Times articles, so make sure to get your money claims ready for that. Although this Pokemon isn't too common amongst members, only a very few handfuls have this Pokemon, so keep that in mind, but it will be a good article for a lot of people to want to claim this Mon. I think that's how we want to say it. Anyway, yeah, Incineroar.
If you want a Pokemon that's really good at combat, you have many options. If you really want a Pokemon that looks cool, you have many other options. The mart has many options for you. But if you want a Pokemon that shoots fire out of its crotch, Incineroar is the only option for you.
Gray, we talked about this. You weren't going to mention this in the podcast.
Yes, I was.
Oh my. I do not condone this man's actions. And this is the part where the picture goes into the podcast. No. And this is the part where the close-up of the face happens, because that just makes it better. Moving on. Incineroar is a very strange Pokemon. It's the fire starter for Gen 7's Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It is a cat, but it evolves into a fire dark type and becomes Tony the Tiger as a luchador.
Yeah,
weird.
Specifically, it's supposed to become a heel, which is supposed to be like the bad guy in wrestling.
Yeah, he's like, grr, I'm gonna beat you up, kid. And then, moving on with stats. Incineroar is it's a fairly bulky mon. As you and I were talking about it, it's not the bulkiest, but it's got a decent set of bulk to it. I mean, it has 394 HP and 279 in both of its defenses.
Yeah, that's so about a 70% defense to health ratio. Optimally, you want it to be exactly the same, but that's not going to happen. Ideally, you want it to be like 75% plus, but like 70% is good enough. There's plenty of good mons that are like 65% plus.
Right. And also has a 329 attack stat, so it's going to hit hard. But it has a 219 speed stat, so it's fairly sluggish.
When it starts out, it is, but after a flame charge, it can hit 320 something, 328.
318, wasn't it?
328, I believe. Yeah, 1 point of speed below Rayquaza, Mega Rayquaza specifically.
So it becomes a speedy boy.
Yeah.
But it's
speed Garchomp and all that stuff.
Yeah, it can fix its speed deficiency easy and then just become a fairly bulky physical sweeper. Blaze is its base ability, of course, like many other starters, and the Intimidate as its hidden ability. That's really nice in like a counter match, or just as a good switch check against other options. That it can either like basically just 1v1 and it would kind of have the advantage play because of it, or just
it gives itself an advantage for it to like be safe enough to get off a flame charge while the opponent has lowered attack.
It can out DPS. Also, it has a 259 special attack stat, so it doesn't necessarily do as much damage with special moves, but it can still do a decent chunk. But it's all of its moves are basically physical. I mean,
especially with plenty of special fire moves like Fire Blast and Flamethrower.
I mean, all of its coverage goes into the physical. It has Bulk Up, it has Cross Chop, Darkest Leoret, which is, by the way, I don't know if I said that right. Please let us know in the YouTube comments if Mikey57 butchered this, and he should be yelled at and be called boosted. Anyway, Darkest Lariat, 100 base, I believe, dark physical move, where it does not, the damage or the attack is not affected by the opponent's stats changes. So basically it's like unaware on a move, which is amazing. At least I think this is what it does from how I'm reading it.
Yep, that's exactly how it works. Just like Unaware, it ignores defense and evasion, but it doesn't ignore stuff like Eviolite and Reflect.
So it's like a auto crit, an auto crit kind of thing, where it just cripples the bulk
without being
stuff.
a crit.
Yeah. Also has things like Double Kick, Fire Fang, Flare Blitz, Outrage. What?
Yep.
Thrash.
Don't worry about it.
Throat Chop is a new amazing move that is proven very, very, very effective in URPG, where it basically cancels the opponent's Von's move, or ability, ability to use sound moves. Jeez, it's late.
Yep.
But it counters Perish Song, and I want to say a lot. Like if Primarina, if Primarina comes in with Liquid Voice, it can't use any normal moves or sound moves.
That's if it uses Liquid Voice.
Well, true, yeah. That's what I mean.
You're not going to see that a whole lot in URPG.
Well, you never know. Never know.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Incineroar is a very, very strange mon with its TMing. It has access to things like Earthquake and Leech Life. What? That's so bizarre. Flame Charge,
especially after the Leech Life buff. That's really nice.
Exactly. I mean, this thing now has a semi-decent way of self-recovery, assuming, you know, it can get it off, whatnot, with its speed hindering. Overheat, Focus Blast, Will-O-Wisp, Acrobatics? Perfectly fitting for a Luchadore, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Shadow Claw, Swords Dance, Bulldoze, U-Turn, what? Dark Pulse. So it has its very, very interesting set of coverage. It also has things like Crunch, Fake Out, Heat Wave, Power Trip, Nasty Plot, and Revenge as its BMs, and Body Slam. So that's all of its BMs. But it has very, very interesting moves to get access to. It's not bad by any means. It's not, no offense, it's not Decidueye, which is very mediocre. This mana is proven it can do some huge work, especially with the kit it's provided with. What are your thoughts, Gray?
I don't know. I think it has a bunch of really nasty weaknesses that it has. Like, it doesn't have a 4x weakness, but it just has too many important 2x weaknesses to not really bring anything to the table to make up for it. Like, we already have plenty of great Intimidate Pokemon. Like, Arcanine is way better than Incineroar, in my opinion.
I could definitely see that.
And it fulfills a similar niche with fewer weaknesses, and after Burn Up, literally no weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Incineroar, it's definitely not a bad Pokemon. I wouldn't cringe if I rolled in a randoms battle, but it's not something that I expect to see on an Elite Four roster anytime soon.
Maybe. But wait, Gray, we're forgetting something. Very important. We are forgetting Move Tutors. That's right. Ultra Sun and Moon have actually introduced one of the most groundbreaking things that Gen 7 desperately needed, or it would have been dubbed worse than X and Y. Shots have been fired on the podcast. Please let us know in the YouTube comments if Mikey57's shot at X and Y was terrible and a mistake.
Please let us know in the YouTube comments if you know which game is better between X and Y, and if you know why it's better.
Oh my god, we're not getting into this discussion of the lore.
Alright, moving on.
Move Tutors. This has affected a lot of things already in URPG in very, very slow-changing ways, and I will explain why in the next segment. But for now, let's go over Incineroar's amazing Move Tutors. This thing has access to amazing highlights like Blast Burn, Drain
like Puppet
Punch.
And Snore.
Stop. You stop right now. What, we got Drain Punch, Fire Punch. A lot of people like Rowan were complaining about this thing not having a good physical move besides Flare Blitz, and Fire Punch is like the ultimate way out of that Flare Blitz situation, so there's that. Iron Head, Knockoff is amazing. Low Kick.
Especially with Stab.
Very true. Low Kick, Snatch, Contest viable, Stomping Tantrum, Superpower, and Thunder Punch. This mon got so much better. Way better than it should have been.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that Weavile fulfills a lot of those niches, but better. Like, it's definitely squishier, but it already has the Stab knockoff with a higher attack stat. It's higher, right? Yeah, it's higher.
Yeah.
It already gets Snatch. It already gets all sorts of shenanigans, and a lot of that works better when you're already like moving faster than your opponent. And even though it doesn't get Iron Head, Weavile does get Bite, which after Stab has a higher base power than Iron Head, and unlike Icicle Crash, is always going to hit. So I think flinch-acts like that definitely works better when you have the crazy speed that Weavile has. I don't know. In general, I just don't really see Incineroar like replacing anything at the high end.
I don't think it will replace, but its coverage has gotten so much better. Which is why I say it's actually
undeniable that it's gotten better.
it's gotten so much higher in the tier system, in my opinion. Well, slowly but surely, once people start realizing the coverage has expanded a huge amount, and that its viability and utility has increased tenfold. So who knows? We might see Incineroar more in the future. Probably not on a huge like Elite Four roster, but I think every fire gym ever will pick up an Incineroar because of what it offers. Maybe even actually, I think it would be a staple in dark gyms as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, like it's a. If anything, I'd say it's a replacement for Houndoom, but even then, like it's not like you were seeing a whole lot of Houndoom beforehand.
I mean, it's Mega Houndoom's a thing, so it's not bad.
Mega Houndoom's okay, but
yeah, Mario,
it
we
makes
love
up
Houndoom.
Like the biggest issue with Houndoom is that it has a low physical defense stat, and it's dark type, meaning that you can drain punch it and just get healed so much health. Whereas Incineroar does have the higher physical bulk.
So it can punish easier.
So, like, you just can't drain punch it and heal to full instantly.
For sure. Anyway, moving on. We are going to be talking about our Meg segment, Metagame. Now, URPG has had the move tutors for about 2 weeks at this point. Am I right? Is it sound right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, 2 weeks as of today. As of today,
November 15th.
Oh my god, Grace, stop. I'm tired enough as it is. But, now the metagame has shifted a little bit in viability because so many weird move tutors and egg moves were introduced into Sun and Moon that probably shouldn't be in for URPG. I mean, we have things, so many defoggers.
Yeah.
So many defoggers.
Absolutely.
You have things like Blaziken got defog, Volbeat and Altaria. Pardon me, Volbeat and Altaria got freaking defog. Rayquaza got defog.
Yep.
All of the
Superior
Rotom forms got defog. Yeah. Superior got defog. What? Whimsicott got defog.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Hi,
and
Dragon.
You might be saying, oh wait, but this change is probably just put in the game because Game Freak doesn't balance around the 4 move limit. I'm sure it's not as broken in game. Over on Pokemon Showdown, it's very clear that that's not true because before this change, little Pokemon called Landorus was pretty prevalent in OU, and now got defog. So now everyone just runs defog on Landorus, and there's no point in running defog on anything else.
Yep. I mean, you have things like Whimsicott.
So they just broke everything with MT defog.
Not
See ya,
wrong.
hazards.
See ya. I mean, you have Klefki and stupid junk like that get freaking defog, which are hilarious. But in the URPG standpoint, this is amazing. There are so many defoggers now, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, you can...
And
go ahead.
I was saying before that if it weren't for the prevalence of flying types, then Toxic Spikes and Sticky Web are borderline OP in URPG, especially in randoms where you can't purposely send in flying types to avoid them, but like with MT defog, it's just so risky to be using a turn on a hazard move nowadays.
I mean, I can tell you right now, my bug gym got a huge buff because Rimbombi just got Sticky Web, which is the best thing ever, in my opinion. Because now, the sole reliable Sticky Webber has always been Galvantula, or Smeargle, but it's been Galvantula. And now that Rimbombi got Sticky Web, that's insane.
I don't know if it's really worth it as much anymore. Like, as of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, like, yeah, I can use Sticky Web, but you could send in a Blaziken and destroy the Ribombee and defog the Sticky Web.
Well, still. I mean, the defog has kind of shifted because I've seen the rocks, but it's so easy to get rid of rocks in general because a lot of people do run the defoggers. But flying gyms, you can never set up a hazard again because every single like flying type at this point has defog.
And Volcarona.
And Volcarona, which is like the #1 flex pick in all flying gyms at this point. So
yeah,
it's like
if you're not running Volcarona as your wild card, it's probably because you don't own a Volcarona.
Or it's just too risky to run with stealth rocks. But now that basically every flying type has defog, there's no real fear in not running it at this point. I don't know, I think the Rotom forms getting defog was very questionable. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it helps out URPG a lot with how common Rotom Wash and Rotom Frostar.
I wouldn't even
to
say.
some extent.
Yeah, I was about to say Heat is pretty prevalent in there as well. I mean, granted, not as much as the other two, but it's in there still. Also, can we talk about these new amazing egg moves that have come out in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for a very good handful of meta pick Mons? Riolu and Lucario got Meteor Mash. I know this upsets you. Yes, a Steel buff, Gray, your favorite type besides fairies. I can tell by his silence that he is absolutely loving it.
The only real breeding move that affected any of my Pokemon was Altaria gets Play Rough, which I'm not even going to use in serious battles, because if I'm using Altaria in a serious battle, it's going to be Mega Altaria. I'm going to have Pixelate, so I can just use Pixelate Return and deal more damage if I really want that physical fairy damage.
Not wrong. I mean, you have things like high horsepower going on to the Phanpy line and the Ponyta line. You have a lot of lunge on different Bugmons, like Ariados and Volbeat.
This is why Mikey likes these breeding
bug moves. Yeah! Here's a really big one that should have been since the dawn of time and since Gen 5. Apom finally got Tail Slap.
You know what Apom really needs?
What?
Encore. Like, when I picture Encore, I picture the enemy Pokemon just, like, clapping its hands together. Apom has, or Ambipom rather, has two sets of hands. It can clap its hands together while its tails slap together.
Not
just
wrong.
Imagine Ambipom with Encore.
That would
I'm not
actually
saying
make
picture
it very
Ambipom
viable.
in the meta with Encore. That would be disgusting. Just
Not
picture a happy Ambipom using Encore.
Insert contest memes here. One of my favorite highlight moves is Oshawott line getting Sacred Sword, which is the strangest thing on the planet.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
think it changes it much.
I think Sacred Sword already shouldn't have even been given to Aegislash. It should have remained semi-exclusive to those legendaries from Gen 5, but...
Hey, what can you do?
Yeah.
Also, a lot of psychic terrains. Alakazam, Hypno, Girafarig, and Delphox, for example, got psychic terrain in their BMs. So now...
did Musharna?
Did Musharna get it? I don't see it.
Oh, it already had it through Level Up. But
well, then there you
if
go.
you want to be a cool boy and get a breeding move Psychic Terrain, you have to get a Hypno. Not a Musharna. Sepe, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, shots fired. Rip Sepe. But there's a lot of really weird things. The most unnecessary utility move to be put on a Selgor in a while is Toxic Spikes.
Oh my god. Axel Gore, in my opinion, was like already one of, if not the best, non-legendary lead in URPG. And then they gave it one of the best moves to put on a lead. Like, at the very least, Defog got buffed, so Toxic
Exactly.
Spikes doesn't matter as
Defog
much,
says
yeah.
no hazards. Also, Bofurant, Balfalant, is that the Afro
Buffalo?
Cow?
Yeah.
Afro
The
Cow
Gen 5 Tauros knockoff.
got Cotton Guard. That's hysterical. It's not going to make it much better, but it will make it bulky. Also, Permaphantom only gets Power-Up Punch. What? I don't get it.
It's because Trevenant can learn Power Up Punch through TM, which takes priority over BM when it comes to the Ultra Decks, whereas Phantom can't learn Power Up Punch via TM, so...
When Perma Wooper can get Power-Up Punch.
Yeah, probably the same story. Let me check.
Yeah, probably. But while Gray is double-checking these things, a lot of these
Yeah,
Mons have gotten some huge buffs. We're not going to highlight every single, amazing move tutor. That's for you guys to really look into and decide how you want to build your teams and what Mons
What's
you want to add.
important is that Game Freak listened to the fans. They were saying Rayquaza was unbalanced. They were saying all legendaries should be the same power as Rayquaza. So they gave Rayquaza the buff it needed and gave it Defog.
You, Gray, you're just something else. Anyway, that's all we have to discuss today for the URPG Times podcast, episode 5. But we have a few closing notes to say before everything's ended off for today.
Yep.
1.
First off, shoutouts to FD.
Yeah, thank you. Shoutouts to FD, yes. 2. we'd like to thank you guys again so much for all of your support. You guys are amazing. And we'd like to apologize for the weird gap in the podcast consistencies. But we're trying to improve that. A lot has happened in the last few weeks, especially with myself being promoted to staff. My table and my assignments for staff have been very increased, so I'm trying to balance everything out, so I apologize in advance for the lateness of everything. Speaking of lateness, look at the spooky, scary podcast that was supposed to be on Halloween. What's up with that, Mikey? So, regarding spooky podcast, keep in mind I had to get multiple people involved to record them reading these stories. There have been some mic issues with some of these recordings, and just being online at the same time as certain people is a difficult thing. But I have decided it'd be very nice to release it at the same time as Christmas, well, around the Christmas time, because Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, haha! I see what
you
did there.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to announce that we will be doing a special for Christmas. We will be doing a very special, not so much podcast, but a special brought
Q&A.
to you guys by the podcast. What was that, Gray?
Special Q&A.
No, that's the live podcast. Speaking of live podcasts, on December 3rd, hopefully will be the next day after this episode's released, we will be doing a live Q&A special to go with Invitational, unless we think of something much more important to talk about during the time period. So make sure you guys are free for the live podcast. There will be a time announced by the time this video is out as well. Not included, but in the time frame. You guys know what I mean. We're tired. It's extremely late. It's almost 4 a.m. for me. It's almost 6 a.m. for Gray. We've been going at this thing for a long time with a lot of mishaps there because I'm boosted. Also, we'd like to introduce a new segment to the podcast. The Riddle Me This, Who's That Pokemon segment. So every month we will be, at the end of the episode, we will be doing a riddle. And you guys should guess what the Pokemon is through this riddle. You will be guessing within the YouTube comments, not our DMs, nor anybody else's DMs or threads. All guesses must be submitted into the YouTube comments. You will be awarded a prize if you both guess the Mon first and you're not boosted. But that second reason's not really a thing, so you just gotta guess the Mon first. And we will be keeping track of this, don't worry.
Yeah, and please put it in the comments, don't post it on the Times.
Yes, this is very important. Please keep that separate. Wages are posted on the Times, or wage claims are posted on the Times, but
yeah,
these guesses are going to strictly be comments only. If you comment or guess within a Times thread, it will not count. Anyway, riddle me this. I run around the world at high speeds. I won't touch the... Can you let me read the riddle, dude? Holy! Riddle me this. I run around the land at high speeds. I won't touch the world because it's unclean. I'm thin, but my power level is over 500. I'm not common where you are. But where I live, I thrive. Who am I? Also keep in mind it took Gray about 15 guesses to even get closely related to what the Mon is. These...
Okay, so 3 of those were Rayquaza.
I can confirm a lot of these guesses were Rayquaza. It's not Rayquaza. That's your one hint you guys get. But
No,
please keep in mind, this riddle has some very, very key points about the Pokemon within it. So you guys should be looking into the words of these riddles very carefully because they do give some pretty big hints within itself.
And again, you can find it in the description if you want to take a
Yeah,
look at
this
that.
riddle will be posted in the description. So if you feel like there's something in the riddle that you'd like to possibly look into, you should probably do that. But you didn't hear that from me. Anyway, I think it's finally time to end this episode after how many takes of recording on this stupid thing?
700?
Probably. Yeah, something like that. 7,800. 7,801 recordings later.
Yeah, it's
We
a
like to
7-star monster, 7,800 attack power.
Very true, very true. Ability is to end the podcast for the night.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you guys again so much for your support. Excuse me, that was a burp. Make sure to claim your wages posted in the YouTube description within the Times article that will be coming out by the time this episode is released. Not in the comments. Do not automatically add them to your stats. Please claim any podcast wages awarded to you within the new Times article for November, even though it's being posted in December. Good lord. Alright.
Yep.
I think we're done. I have been your host, Mikey57, and we have had my co-host, Gray.
Hey.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening again. And, as much as I hate to say it, look forward to the drawings of memes, mostly of me,
Oh, boy.
at the end of the episode, aka right now.
Okay,
Let's roll.
I think that was a great practice take. Now let's do the real podcast.
You're dead to me at the moment. Good night. I'm going to bed. We're done.
Good
See
night,
ya.
URPG.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the podcast, and now we feature some art of me from Mistral / Felly. Yay.